Pause right here. Don't rush forward carelessly, because what you're encountering in this very instant isn't commonplace or haphazard. It didn't find you by chance. Before you even began reading these lines, before your gaze fixed on this spot, before your mind could fully grasp and absorb it, this precise moment was already destined. I foresaw this encounter long before your day started. Before you rose from your bed this morning, before that familiar burden settled back into your chest, before those recurring worries tried to claim your first thoughts, I had already orchestrated this meeting just for you. You might convince yourself that you stumbled upon this out-of-routine, idle interest, or just another mundane choice in a day already weighed down by fatigue. But I'm revealing the truth. This holds no randomness. This isn't merely one more note amid a chorus of noises. This is a sacred disruption. Precisely because I understand the paths your heart has been treading, the loads your soul has been bearing, the profound weariness you've developed from acting as if all is well, when deep down you're fraying at the edges. You've encountered countless words in the past. You've brushed aside numerous voices. You've skipped over notifications, hurried through instances, and pressed on while muffling the quiet pleas your own heart has whispered in seclusion. Yet this message bears perfect timing. It carries the gravity of this specific hour. It arrives because there are times when the divine doesn't merely murmur faintly from afar, but boldly inserts itself into your routine and declares, "Halt right now. Something vital needs to pierce through to you before you keep shouldering burdens that were never intended for your back." Plenty of things you can overlook, and existence marches on unchanged. But certain instances are crafted with such exactitude that speeding by them postpones the very touch your spirit craves today. This qualifies as one such instance. That's why I'm urging you. Heed this intently, not with wandering focus, not as your thoughts scatter elsewhere, but from the innermost core of you, the part that still instinctively knows when divine words are flowing. I recognize your exhaustion, even if those nearby don't fully perceive it. I know the sort of fatigue that rest can't erase, the depletion that sinks below the physical, infiltrating your mind, feelings, optimism, and even your capacity to anticipate joy. I know how frequently you've forced a smile while silently questioning how long you can maintain this fragile composure. I know those solitary pauses when others presumed you were okay, yet turbulent undercurrents churned within that you couldn't articulate. I know the concealed letdown you harbor, the one you avoid voicing because you're weary of attempting to describe aches that baffle even you. I know those intimate times when you surveyed your circumstances and pondered why some matters haven't budged, why diligence hasn't yielded ease, why supplications feel postponed why opportunities lag, why resolutions linger out of reach. I know how overlooked you felt not merely by others, but occasionally within your own spirit, as though your labors vanish unnoticed. Despite your fierce bid for stability, I know those instances when you doubted if your emotions registered with anyone. I know the evenings when you grew hushed because verbalizing felt overwhelming, and even the prayers you yearned to utter stayed fragmented. I heard those muted pleas. I heard what never shaped into complete phrases. I heard what lingered trapped in your chest because your soul was too drained to craft expressions. I heard the exhale you let out in isolation. I heard the supplication veiled in your quietude when all you managed was to sit and breathe amid letdown. None of that evaded my notice. There are requests you've made in secrecy that no one else knows. Queries you've borne silently because you tired of voicing them repeatedly. Moments when you wondered if genuine transformation stirs, if real alteration unfolds, if your trials hold purpose past this protracted limbo. You've questioned if your current sensations mark just another fleeting phase, or if a greater shift draws near. That's why I've halted you here. Answers must penetrate before skepticism amplifies once more. Stay engaged to the finish. For one segment of this directly addresses the query you posed me in solitude. The exact matter you mulled over repeatedly, in hush, when no one else listened. I grasp it completely, and I'm not addressing you in generalities now. You sometimes assume stagnation because your sight lacks tangible evidence. But I'm affirming, transformation has commenced. Even prior to any observable shift, motion ignited in realms beyond your current gauge. The quietude you dreaded is permanent, held no void. What seemed stalled wasn't forsaken. What appeared static wasn't overlooked. Transformations often initiate subtly ages before surfacing. This marks such a juncture. That burden you've sensed, that peculiar intuition of inner agitation, that profound hunch. You're poised near something indefinable that's your spirit already detecting what your earthly insight hasn't synced with yet. Declare aloud, I am nothing without you, Lord. If He supplies the vitality sustaining you before dusk falls, your soul will comprehend why I've intervened. Not every revelation bursts forth instantly, but an inner knowing will dawn on why this precise hour held weight. You didn't land here by whim. This convergence arose because divine schedule intersected your frailty. As I selected this precise breach to speak ere fresh despair could cloak you. Certain days deliver a single phrase at the brink, where a spirit risks veering too inward. Today qualifies for you. You're positioned adjacent to a pivot invisible as yet. That's why recent sensitivities intensified. Why select feelings surged. Why bygone notions resurfaced. Why certain letdowns abruptly sharpened. transitions frequently unsettle buried elements prior to unveiling the incoming. You mistook the burden for flaw, yet soulful alertness often precedes pivots. Emotional tension can signal the massive teetering on breakthrough's verge. Don't belittle this as trivial. Don't regard these as fleeting utterances. For I orchestrate disruptions with precision lest you proceed bearing outdated verdicts. You've whispered to yourself that change eludes you, delays persist. This is merely endurance. But I'm reiterating, pivots have launched. Even as you parse why your spirit quieted to absorb this, motion advances unseen. A purpose underlies your heart's refusal to surrender fully post-setback. Something within prompts pauses at words like these. You persist seeking, hoping, querying if this bears authenticity, because a deep recess acknowledges my proximity. Even amid mental fatigue, I'm present now. Not due to sudden ease or manifest solutions, but to ensure, pre-further advance, you shed exhausting loads. Hear distinctly, you're remembered, you're perceived. Stagnation won't endure. Remain, absorb fully. Don't permit distraction. For the segment you nearly bypassed might be the precise resolution awaited unknowingly, now perilously close. Beloved, tune in intently, for this juncture surpasses your current grasp. You might deem your progression through the day led casually here, but I assert assuredly, no coincidence governs. This rendezvous lacks accident. You didn't alight via luck, nor fingers' idle halt, nor attention's fortuitous alignment. Ere this hour dawned, ere your day sprawled, ere thoughts cluttered with burdens, I anticipated this instant. I knew your heart's state upon these words' arrival. I knew today's preload ere your lids parted. Thus I speak lucidly, for celestial design forged this with profundity beyond measure. You've pondered if I note your inward battles, if unvoiced burdens ascend, if ambient hush implies my reticence. But heed, I've never averted gaze, not an instant. Even amid perceived inertia, shortened pleas from heart weariness, I lingered watchful, apprised, prepping junctures thus. Such rendezvous I devise not from circumstance shift, but when spirit nears hope's peril without my timbre, today embodies that. Your arrival defies happenstance. Even seeming mundanity bore my chronology. The near-missed interlude, the compulsion prolonging stay, the intuition demanding persistence amid distractions, all meaningful. Divinity timed this as seasons demand singular utterance at emotional yield's precipice, bridging deeper despondency and recall of my voice. I know your near retreats lately, Matter's internalized sans elucidation's burden. Self-admonitions to persist while inwardly gauging endurance limits amid unseen loads. Proclaim, Jesus, be my steadfast guardian. If you rely on his shield and safeguard, I've essayed outreach pre this, unrecognized oft, via hush, stripping din for spirit note of mind avoided. Via postponement, barring expected portals as pauses invited soul necessity. Via inexplicable inner churn that unrest dubbed anxiety, bafflement, lassitude, or mood. Yet oft my nearness nudging profound loci, bidding halt for meaning grasp. Night's hush amplified my proximity. Recurring cogitations spotlighted truth-needing inners. Frustrating lags barred hasty ingress to unready burdens. Dismissed stirrings diverted life's pulls. Patient, I awaited directness's day. As subtlety sufficed no more your heart demanding overt amid nearing yield,